been working with YWAM at Homestead Manor for the last 6.5, 6-ish years with Christy. Hi, Christy. So we're kind of in the same building, but we have to walk outside to see each other right now. About 2 years ago now, I did a part-time art foundation at a local college. I felt like when I came here to Homestead Manor, came here to England, I felt a specific word from God to focus on art, and have kind of been on a journey of what does that mean in the midst of a broad missions context that we're in. We're not necessarily a community that's focused on creativity or arts. It's there, but it's not our primary kind of thing that we do. I have worked with Christy with her collective Make, and been involved in exhibitions and had some wonderful experiences with that. And then a little over a year ago, I had a baby, and then Corona hit. And it's a strange season, and I think it's a personal transition season for myself, but also it's a strange season to be in the world or to try to start something or develop. So I think I've sitting here kind of having questions about what does my practice look like now? How do you move forward in a personal artistic practice in the midst of the situation, and then also in the midst of new parenthood? And Noemi, I know that you have also recently had a beautiful little boy, and I'm curious as to some of your journey with that. And I think that's it from me. But.
Great. I wish I had all the answers. Yeah. Maybe you can assign someone else, Tamara. You can choose who's next.
Sarah is on she's first on my screen, so I want to hear from Sarah.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Sarah. I did YWAM in Australia in 2019, and I came back in France. I'm from France, and I came back in France just before Corona hit. And I did MAP DTS, so media art and photography in YWAM, and so I felt like God was calling me to do more creative stuff. And I'm doing basically watercolor paintings and also designing stuff. So I was invited by Laure to this session, and I'm just very interested to see what this session can bring me and how I can grow as an artist.
Thanks. Hey, maybe you can ask someone else.
Ben is on my screen.
Hi, I'm Ben. So my wife and I joined YWAM a while ago, and we first did YWAM in Taiwan, and then we did YWAM in South Africa, and we've been there for 5 years, and then we just moved back to the US because we really want to move to France and join at the Paris base. And so we've been doing YWAM for a long time, and now my wife and I both really want to like explore our passions. And my wife loves to bake, and I love art, and so we're both very like really hyped to like develop those skills and see where they go, because we've just been doing volunteering for such a long time. Or maybe 5 years isn't a very long time, but it feels like a long time. And so we both really want to do that. And so yeah, so I love to draw, and a lot of digital art I've learned in the last year has been really cool. And I would say just learning just fundamental principles have been really exciting to like develop for me. So yeah, I'm excited to always looking to grow as an artist or just spend more time doing art, making art. And so So yeah, I think like with the pandemic, it's like, yeah, it's like really like weird and frustrating, but we're both pretty excited and both want to pursue our dreams and living and moving to a city that we both have been to and like really love, and like to go there as a way to like pursue, yeah, our passions into new culture, and all of that stuff is, yeah, kind of exciting. So yeah, that's a brief interview.
Yeah. You need to contact us when you arrive in Paris.
Yeah, oh, we will. I mean, we would love to. We're really excited to meet new friends, meet new people, and connect.
Okay, so I'll let you assign someone else.
Okay, Tanya.
Hi there, everybody. Hey, Naomi. Nice to see you.
Hey.
I'm Tanya. I'm Canadian, and I've been living in Glasgow for about 3 years now. I've been in YWAM for over 20 years, and I'm a writer. I've written 4 books, working on my 5th, and this 5th one is the first novel that I'm trying to write. So the other ones have been nonfiction, which I love. I love teaching. I've taught in DTS a lot and different things, but love fiction, and I'm trying to figure out how to really use storytelling as a way to not just teach people things, but to capture their heart and to offer them something that they're curious about or longing for. So that's where I'm at the moment, and feel like COVID has really been a gift to me because there's not a lot I can do. And so it's like God saying, Tanya, here's the chance to do what you've wanted to do. So stop wasting your time and go for it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I nominate Olga.
Still mute, Olga.
Hey everybody, my name is Olga. I was born and raised in Moldova. I live in Norway at the moment, in Bergen. I am a book illustrator. I work as a freelance, illustrate books and do graphic art, but also teach. I teach workshops and teach in school right now. Teach younger children visual art. But YWAM, my connection to YWAM, I haven't done DTS in YWAM, but I was invited to teach watercolor classes a few years there. So I've been there maybe 2 or 3 years in Ålesund in YWAM in Norway. They have a creative base here in Ålesund. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I will ask Marie Salome to tell us about herself.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Naomi.
Hello.
I'm a visual artist based in France near YOM Saint-Paul-Trois-Châteaux. I don't know if you know this place. I never make a YOM, but I made a theology in Geneva for 1 year. I studied theology, and I've a scientific background, and I started to make art when I became a mother for the second time, and I had back problems, health problems. And I rediscover how our body is beautiful inside, with cells and a little microscopic vision of the human body. And so I made a first exhibition, and it's had a lot of success with a Christian researcher in biochemistry. And so my work is about art, science, and wonder, or faith. But I don't want that non-Christian. Sorry, English is hard for me. I don't have a lot of occasion to practice, so it's hard for me. Yes, it's about art, science, and wonder. So Christian can worship God about the beauty of creation in the big universe or in the little cells and atoms and little things like that. And it's about inviting non-Christian to wonder and to question about the presence of God in the nature is so wonderful. And so that I'm sure that if human ask question about if there's somebody beside the nature, so it can only be God. Sorry, my English is awful. I hope you understand what I say. So, and I'm with you today because I've seen the post of Naomi, and I decided that will be very interesting to know about your journey, your background, and your testimony. Yeah, that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, I'm happy you're there.
Thank you.
We actually, this is not only for YWAMer, but it's because like most of the people who started are from YWAM. Like, of course, we invite our network first, but yeah, you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
We tried not to look like a sect.
Okay, thank you. No, I meet regularly people from YOM. They are very, very nice.
Okay,
so
let's choose someone.
Yes. So, Christy Summerton. And I have to leave soon because I have children to take care of. Sorry.
My name is Christy. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. And I, like Tamara said, I'm based in England too, at YWAM Homestead Manor. I've been in YWAM since 2006. I met Noemi in Harpenden a while ago now.
We were young.
Yeah, I know. And had no husbands and no children.
Exactly.
I became a mother 5 years ago, just about 5 years ago. And let's see, before I came into YWAM in 2006, I did a degree in fine art. So I have a bachelor's degree in fine art, and my emphasis was ceramics. But I really enjoy 3D sculptural creation, and have been able to do a bit of that while I've been in YWAM. And with Tamara's help, I had an arts collective here probably for about 5 years, but with having 2 kids, it's been a bit, I haven't had as much ability to put the time into it that I need to. So we've put it on pause for the moment. And actually God's opened up an avenue of creation care. My husband's a scientist. He's a marine biologist before he came into YWAM. And so we have been looking at how to incorporate art with science and help people take better care of creation. And that is kind of where I'm at the moment. Looking probably more into, I guess I've been using more, like I found myself using more natural materials for creating art in the last few years. And so I've kind of been exploring that a bit more in the time that I've got. So that's me. Let's see, who hasn't gone? Isabel.
Yay! Yeah, I'm Isabel. I'm Danish, but currently living in Bristol in the UK. Joined here about a year ago, but been in YWAM for about 5 years, besides from when I did my DTS in 10. So that's where I met Naomi and Christy. So it's like, good to see you guys again. It's been 10 years. Yeah. So joining YWAM again, my main focus was actually more humanitarian, and worked a lot with women in human trafficking and such. So it's actually a new thing that God has restored, the whole art thing. This year has, I'm currently on a sabbatical, and I guess it's a new thing for me to take it seriously, that I am an artist, because it's something I've always done and used to sell art as a teenager and then lost it. And what's happening now is that I'm being invited back on to the playground is kind of the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just at the beginning at it again, but mainly I've always done drawing, acrylics, and watercolor. Yeah. I don't know. So that's me.
Good to see you again.
It's so good to see you all.
Your hair were not pink 10 years ago.
No, this was 2020. All right, who hasn't gone? Has Cecil? Oh, she's not really in the picture. Oh, she is there. There you go. I choose you.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, yeah. I have been a little bit out and in of YWAM, and but now I work in hospital, and I would like to do more art. I like to paint and do illustrations. It's often a little bit funny, humorous, but I'm finding a little bit hard to discipline myself, to grow in art. Yes.
Where did you say you are?
Huh?
Where do you live now?
Oh, I live in Norway.
Norway.
In Ålesund. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good to meet you. So there's Miriam and Johan. So maybe Miriam and then Johan.
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Miriam. I come from Finland, and I used to be involved in YWAM for about 4 years. I was mostly in Finland, but also a little bit in France, and then I was doing an art school. It was called Artists in Development back then in Ålesund, that was mentioned before. And that's when I met Cecil, so it's really nice to see you, Cecil. It's been a while, I guess 5 years since I saw you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah. The last 2 years I've been studying theology here in Finland, and I enjoy painting. I'm an amateur painting. I have never really studied art, but I enjoy doing it, and I occasionally do some commission works. I've been doing some live paintings in churches during worship times. And I just have an overall feeling that I would like to use my gift or develop it, but it's a bit hard to, go forward when you're doing it just on your free time. You are not able to totally focus on art. So yeah, I guess I need discipline and also vision to go forward all the time. And I hope to get inspired by you guys. Yeah. Thanks. So the next person, I guess.
Johan.
Hi, I'm Johan. I don't know if you can hear me well. I've been staying in Paris for a little over than 3 years, and I'm originally from Korea. I have a background working with YWAM more in communication, and I've been shooting photo for a bit more than 10 years, but I took it seriously since 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm shooting analog photos at the moment. And during my time in Paris, I was able to join this group exhibition, which is even happening now with Noemi. And I had also an opportunity to do my single exhibition in Paris too. So it was a good connection to have something in Paris. And yeah, I have my undergrad's German, nothing to do with French. I have a theological background for my master's. Yeah, so I don't really have educational background for art, but then I had some grace to explore more with my photography for my recent years. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Johan. And then there's Nina, who just arrived. Hello, Nina.
Hi, sorry, I'm Mark. This is my wife's phone, and
Oh,
my
sorry.
wife is my phone in the Vision meeting. So yeah, I'm Mark.
Okay, sorry.
I'm assuming you're doing quick introductions.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm Mark. I am an illustrator stroke animator. My wife and I have run a little animation company for a couple of, 12 years. And recently, 2 years ago, we've taken the last 2 years off work to just create some Christian products that we really felt the Lord wanted us to make, just to help families and kids to memorize scripture and to engage with God's word. And we're writing a number of children's books. So yeah, that's me.
Where are you located? Yeah.
Sorry?
Where do you live?
Oh, I'm in London.
You're in London. Oh, great accent. Yeah.
So really nice to be.
Yeah, nice to have you all. Yeah, sorry, like introduction sometimes can be long, but it's I guess like the idea is to connect. So if we don't know like who we're connecting with, it's hard. Yeah. So like I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. Yeah, it's to be honest, like yeah, I never really chose to be an artist. Yeah, and yeah, we just did a collective exhibition, and one girl who came, like she said like, oh, j'aurais voulu être un artiste, you know, it's saying, oh, I wish I could be an artist. And I don't know, I was like, you don't know what it is to be an artist. Like, yeah, it's, I think like if you're like me, it's a lot of doubt. Yeah, a lot of roller coaster. And often if like you are an artist, you have this incredible gift called sensitivity, and so you can be a drama queen or a drama king. And so yeah, but I guess like I met so many artists like through the years, and my heart and what is my passion is to connect artists together. So I'm realizing we're all the same, you know. So we're not alone. Yeah, and to actually talk and to realize that many people have the same, like, are going through the same challenges, kind of make me calm down and just say like, okay, like it's I can go through all this, like and also like I think we need to connect, to help one another, like to share idea and resources and things like that. So I'm talking today, but like if you're like if you have things to share, next time you register, please write it so we can invite you to share in one of our forum too about your own experience. So the idea is to learn from one another. Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen so you can see this. Can you see a cup of coffee?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm fasting coffee for 21 days, and today is the last day, and I'm so excited about tomorrow. I bought like my favorite coffee. But anyway, that's not why I'm sharing this. It's so I start making art, I think in like 2005, so that would be like around 15 years ago. And I'm from Canada, from Montreal, a French Canadian. I now live in Paris. I moved here like 4 years ago. And so in Canada, when I was planning to do my DTS, which I did in Singapore, I needed money. So I started to look for a different job. And then I realized that they were looking for like young artists to show in a gallery. And so I told like the owner of the gallery, I said, I can bring you my work, but I never painted before. But I thought, not that hard, like you just try a thing. And I knew I could draw. It was a natural gift. So I thought like, I just need to buy paint. I bought some ink. And then I had my coffee cup and then my ink, and then the telephone rang, and I took the telephone, and I'm really clumsy. So I dropped like the coffee on the canvas. And so I guess you can call it a mistake. I don't know if it was a mistake, but I know it kind of started my career. So here you go. So I dropped the coffee. I start working with the stain. You say that, stain, and with the ink. And so like this is what it looked like at the end. So that's my first painting, because I just had a glass of wine with a friend in the day before. So I just got inspired by that and play with the ink and the coffee. And then I brought 3 paintings to the gallery owner, and I could sell one, which was, yeah, she sold it, I think 250, and I think I got $20 out of that. but I was really, really excited. Yeah, I was like, maybe that's a good way to make money. So so I start asking people if they wanted like a painting. So and I was selling them like $20, $50. And the whole like process was always the same. I was like listening to them, listening to their story, getting inspired by what they were going through. Because I'm really sensitive, I often like crying with them, and really taking this back into like my garage, because I had no studio at this time, and like praying for them, and painting something that would speak to their heart. And it was always like a little bit like this style, like figurative, abstract, playing with shape and playing with like a texture. I love texture and I love experimenting. So you see on the side here, this is like coffee. When you leave the coffee grain and you let it dry, after when you take out the coffee, it creates those beautiful natural stain. And so I was playing with layers. So you see here at the right or at the left, I don't know, it's layers and layers and layers. So layers of tea and layers of rooibos tea from South Africa, and layers of coffee. So playing with that, like I was turning my canvas, finding something that would come up, and then like work with like a rug to after like erase the coffee and then put ink on top of it. So I started doing that really like really for fun. Like Isabel said, it was, for me, it was, there was no like, I wasn't planning to make this in my career. I was just having a lot of fun, and I miss those days. Sometimes it comes back, but it was just like, this is before pre-university. So like, I wasn't thinking of where is my place in the art world. Yeah, so I was just really enjoying the moment, enjoying the texture. So here you have another like experiment with tape to create like different like parts of in the painting, and then I start adding like glue. For some reason I never thought of using paint. Didn't come to my mind. So I really love to work with liquid, because I didn't know how it would go. I didn't know how it would dry, and that kind of excites me to come back the next day and not knowing what it's gonna be like, like what it would become. So here are like 2008, so like a little bit really at the beginning of when I was doing those painting order. And so the whole idea, like the one that is more reddish, it's a woman, kind of like a tree. And so this woman, like her favorite psalm was Psalm 1. And so like the tree next to the water. And then the other image, the theme was like butterfly. So that's also the really hard thing, like having painting order, like the theme were often really cheesy or like really hard to like, okay, how am I gonna do something great like with that? But so I don't know if you can see it, there's kind of a woman with her head looking up and she's looking for the light. And she's kind of in this transformation process. So so yeah, it was kind of a challenge, like to how to play with the texture, how to please the client. At the same time, you don't always want to you want to bless them. You want, when they see the image, that they see more of who they are, or like I guess to surprise them, like they would never think of it that way, to change their perception about it. So yeah, and this is like how I developed a whole teaching about like worldview, like how art changed worldview, because I realized I made probably like over like hundreds of painting now, and more than 50 personal orders. And it's just crazy when you give the painting to someone, how it changed their perception of who they are, of how they see themselves. And the more it was going, and I was doing those order, like the more like people were telling their friends, oh, this painter, like she come to your house and she get to know you, and like and it's really personal. And it was friend, and after friend of friends, and after it was like total stranger. But I wanted to keep the same idea of like keeping it really personal. And at that point, I many people told me you should do art school. So I started going to university in art, but I continued to have like many painting orders. So I was doing this on the side, like it was becoming my work. Yeah, and I was getting so familiar with ink, because I was working with that every day, that it just kind of become my technique to work like horizontal with glue and like ink and tea and coffee. This is other texture you see with the glue. Like, so just I just like knew how much ink or water I needed for the glue to stay or for the glue to melt. So it was yeah, it was just like I was pretty much like using whatever I could find in the garage of my father at that time. And it's yeah, it's you see I was using their spray paint that I was finding, and the picture like that is red on the bottom is like burn paint. And like I was putting a lot of paint on top of the canvas, and with a lighter I was burning the paint. And I remember one time my father arrived in the garage and he said like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying to burn the paint. And he was like, well, you shouldn't do that with a lighter. And then he came back and he brought back a torch, and he said, it's going to be a lot better with that. And oops, okay, I'm talking too loud, sorry. I have a baby, yeah, that is 10 months old. Yeah, and yeah, so now I just need to do like 2 minutes on my parents. I grew up in the country, and my parents are like, whatever you're dreaming of, you just make it happen. So my mom is in the tractor, my dad is there, and they're just like doing everything together. They can like they always really encourage me. I totally ruined their house. I ruined their floor with ink. I ruined their wall when I was a teenager with graffiti. And yeah, I'm not saying you should do that with your kid, but they always told me like, this is incredible, like you need to keep going. Maybe this is not good enough, like maybe you need to practice more. And yeah, and here another picture. My mom is passionate about ski, and my dad is passionate about horse. So they do this sport, you know, that she do ski behind the horse. So it's kind of like, I think I was really blessed, like as an artist, like to have parents like that, because when I grew up, like I had no fear, and I was ready to try everything, and I have no fear that I would be chicané, you know, that they would like say no, or that yeah. So it's, and for me that's kind of like the biggest c'est quoi le mot ennemi, kind of the biggest thing that can go against artists is really fear. Like what kills creativity is really fear. And I only experienced that when I arrived in France. Yeah, like when I arrived in France 4 years ago. Yeah, because like the critique, and then having people like just everything in your head that is saying like you're not good enough, this is not gonna make it, like all of this. Yeah, maybe like I tell you, I've been like overprotected. Yeah, but it's kind of, I had to really deal with those fear here in France, like psychologically. Yeah, and I think it's like the fear of like for most of us, well, I don't know, like maybe we can talk about it after, but like the biggest fear for me is like self-doubt, like I'm not good enough, it's not going to be good enough, like why am I doing this, I think it's Isabel too who said that, like I'm not really an artist, what am I trying to show, like I should just get a job like everyone else, and like yeah. And anyway, this is when I need to like stop and pray, because if I try to create in that state of mind, nothing good will come out of that. Yeah, and it's actually like it really stopped me for many months here in France. I couldn't paint anymore. I didn't know how to paint anymore, because I was going in the studio and I was so afraid of like many things. But it's yeah, and also like I think we're afraid of like failure, like not being like able to succeed, not being able to. And I think it's just an attitude, like when you go in the studio, if you start like by saying I'm not gonna succeed, like then you're not gonna succeed, like. And when I go in my studio and I'm like, whatever happened, like it's gonna be good, like maybe not like great or perfect, but it's gonna be good. And the theme is growth, you know, so whatever's gonna happen, I'm gonna grow. And I was just playing with my boy who's like 10 months old, and he's trying so many things, you know, and he's failing over and over again. But I'm just like, the only way to grow and to learn is to fail, like there's no other way. So I'm just like, if you're afraid of like failing and all that, it just go for it. Like if you fail, it's good, because you're growing into that. So it's really like maybe to write down your fear, because you really need to pray into that. And when you start creating, to make sure like this is not what is driving you. Yeah, and also like I've realized that I was afraid of being myself in France. I'm Canadian. I have a lot of emotion. I paint with my emotion. I don't paint with my head. And I'm really bad at talking. Thank you for listening to me. But it's not my. I'm trying to get better. But like in France, it's really important what you say and how you say it. So I had a hard time to do that, and I had a hard time also to. I'm also a missionary with YWAM, and so also talking about my experience. And I actually did a post-diploma at the Beaux-Arts here. And one of my teacher, he just sat with me and talked with me. And then I explained to him that I couldn't come to the course because I was coming back from South Africa, because I met the Bushman. And I just told him a little bit about my mission work. And he said, why are you not talking about that in your art? I was like, well, it's not really, you know, part of my process. And he was like, no, but it's your life. We want to hear about that. This is what is interesting. And I was like, and I realized that, wow, it's crazy. Actually, like what I'm living every day in mission in YWAM can actually bring a lot to the art world. And so I talked about the Bushman. I did a video. I never did video before. I did a video and I talked I basically just did a video and talk on top of it. And that was the art piece. And it wasn't big in the museum. And I was like, oh, okay, if this is art, I can do that. Yeah, but it's kind of, I think I didn't realize that just my experience or who I was and all my relationship with YWAM and what I was living could be what like was needed or interesting for the art world. So I guess it's like maybe trying to be something that I thought was an artist instead of just being myself and being proud of what I was doing. And yeah, anyway, so like I was afraid to be myself. I was also afraid to ask others for help, I think. Just saying that I wasn't able to do that, that I wasn't, I never learned oil painting. So asking people to show me how it worked, or like just like kind of those things that I'm like, oh, come on, like you're an artist for 15 years, you should know how to draw, like, but like to take courses and like asking other people, can you show me how to hang my work or how to, so also like asking people for help. And like, yeah, anyway, I could like keep up with all the fears, but I think I did identify the fears, and praying into them, it just gave me so much confidence, and it really made me grow as an artist. So because it really is what kills the creativity. And also, like they say, like that the opposite of fear is love. And I've taken a class, a master class online, and he says that art was self-care. To do art was self-care, and it resonates with me, because I'm just like, when you go into the studio, like go with this attitude of love towards yourself. You know, you're going there to create, and it's actually just a therapy for yourself, just self-care. And for me, who's doing like a painting order, if I'm just like, okay, 30 minutes to go. If I'm just like, oh shoot, I need to do this stupid order for this person who have so many money, and like many times I have so many prejudice, and like and if I start to paint, then forget it. But if like I start with prayer, intercede for them, pray for them, receive from God from them, and then I'm filled with love that is not from me because I don't know them. Filled with love for them, and then I start having images, and I start having, and then it's there that I'm not afraid anymore of failing, because it's yeah. And often, like, I did painting for people, it wasn't masterpiece, it was just like, but the message, or like the essence of what God wanted to say, was so strong that it just touched their soul. And so for me, it's like I can do something beautiful, but like the glorious part of what is going to make people cry is really if I have like the word of God, or like the love of God into it. So yeah, anyway, so just some tips, like to overcome fear. So this is just other images, like that's from like 5 or 6 years ago, when I had no more money for material. I started using an old piece of wood and painting with a sand machine. So you see on the right, it's not paintbrush, it's like sand brush. So like using old material and try painting with that. This is just an image of like a little bit of all the technique mixed together. So like at the top, you see it's spray paint mixed with ink and tea. So the spray paint doesn't go on the canvas because it's oil based. So it's mixed oil base and water base, which you shouldn't do. And it's create those beautiful texture that I love, that is really organic. On the right, you see this is glue that I took out. And so you see like those dots. And then also like the white is oil paint. So I often like go over with oil paint. So that painting was called The Moon, La Lune, the moon to mark, La Lune pour marquer le temps. It's a verse, the moon to mark the time. And so it's kind of like the ocean and the fish and the moon. And yeah, so like I said, often it's figurative abstract, so people can see whatever they want out of it. And this painting, Laure, who actually is in the group, but I think she's in the other group. She came to my studio and she did all those bird like embroidery. And this painting was incredible because it was many of my friends who came to my studio and they just paint over a canvas just to défouler, just to get the emotion out of themselves. So it was a piece of junk kind of. And then Laure started doing those birds, and then I just saw the sailing like of the boat, the sails, and I just add the white and the little man, and yeah, and someone like because at this point I moved my studio in a coffee shop in Montreal because it was conceptual, you know, like you go in the coffee shop, there's the artist at the end, and also because I love to meet people, I love to hear their stories. And so I sold that painting to a stranger like $2,000, and I honestly, to be honest, I just added the sails like in white and the little man because everything was there already. Yeah, so it's just like by turning the painting many times and looking at what is already there, then like coming up the thing that is that you see, kind of the process I was using. And this is when I moved to France. So you can maybe notice that it changed a lot. Like I told you, I couldn't paint for 1 year. I didn't know how to. I was, maybe you see the painting at the top, there's reddish there. So I start using tea and coffee like I used to do before. But for some reason, I couldn't do it. Like it was just not me anymore. So maybe some of you know how it feels to get married and to change country, and you lose all your reference point, and you are so much transformed. And so it was kind of, if I was trying to paint like before, but I couldn't. And so this is where I said, oh, come on, I'm in France. I'm gonna start using oil painting like the old masters. And so I start to learn oil painting, which is not my favorite because it's hard, but and I love to work fast. So this is like the first oil painting, and it's also the first time I was planning an exhibition that wasn't personal orders. So it was an expo, just painting out of what I wanted to do, and it took me a year to do it. It was the most difficult year of my life. To get used to this new country. I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to paint. Yeah, so this whole like a series of painting was a lot about transformation and trying to, I guess, find my way into all this. Yeah. And this is a series of engraving because I took classes in at the Beaux-Arts, like I said, and I tried to specialize in engraving, and I fell in love with this medium. It was like if I was looking for it all my life, and I finally found what suited me, because I love working in layers. I love to work fast. I love printing. I love Japanese paper. I love all the Japanese aesthetic and all that. So yeah, so I found my passion. So I'm hardcore into engraving now, even taking like the zinc, like the metal to engrave, putting gold on it, because I live in Versailles, so I'm full on in gold everywhere. But it's also because it's this series is called Promised Land. So putting gold on it and kind of this promised land, that we're aiming for. So I could talk a lot on each series, but yeah. And so the second point I wanted to talk about is like when I arrived in Paris, I joined this group called La Fonderie. So you see my husband, the handsome man who's talking, called BR. He's a photographer, and he's the director of this association, which is an association for Christians who work in the arts. So I heard about it by Jim, who's sitting in the middle, because he's the one who started it 15 years ago. He's an American missionary from YWAM, and he started this association. When he came to Montreal, he said, Noemi, you need to go to Paris, you need to meet BR and like exhibit like with them. And I wanted to join them because we often hear association of artists who want to use their art to talk about God or evangelize, and this is all good, and I encourage that. But like this was an association of people who were working full-time as artists and were Christian, and it was to encourage them to keep up in the art sphere. So I needed this kind of community because I was struggling and I was having a hard time to grow as an artist. So when I met them, I was really encouraged, and they founded like a gallery in the middle of Paris. So Ben, when you come, we can show you the gallery. This is where Johan is exhibiting right now. And so the gallery is there to help the artist, the emerging artist. It's just next to Le Louvre, incredibly located. Yeah, and so now we have an collective exhibition. We have 12 artists, and we have really professional artists, and other artists are more like beginners. So the whole idea is to try to help everyone to get to a really professional standard that they can exhibit in a gallery in Paris and submit a proposal that is a high quality. So we are trying to help people to get there. And so my second point was like how to grow an influence. And like this is really something that I'm thinking a lot about, because so I work half-time in YWAM for the College of Arts. And so I'm thinking a lot, how can we more engage the art industry? How can we gain more influence? It's yeah, it's yeah, you have no idea how many hours I spend on thinking about that. And then Tom Bloomer, that you might know, who was the provost of the university before, shared a message, and he said, like, we talk for 40 years now that we need to engage the sphere, but there's no strategy. We're not doing it. And I was like, yes, it's true. Like, how are we supposed to do this? And then he said, like, if you want to grow in influence and if you want to grow in authority, then you need to get education and to learn the art language. So I think it's something like that I want to like encourage you to do if you didn't do it, like just to take classes. And I know now there's so many master classes, incredible online, but just to take classes like art classes with other people, so you know how people talk, how they talk about like art gallery, how they talk about if you're like in different discipline, and just how they dress, how they behave, like, and have some friends like when I moved my studio in the coffee shop, I had so many friends that came visit me, and some from the university, some from YWAM. And I remember one time the YWAM people came and they told in front of my friends who were not Christian, they said, "Is this your ministry?" And it was such an awkward moment, because like, I was like, well, I don't know, like, and then because it's not my ministry, it's my studio. Like, it's kind of just having like, not trying to play the artist, but just be an artist, like talk with them, having something to say, something to contribute. Yeah, I'm just thinking, if you're not, now we're thinking a lot how to make our art program at the university better. But we need to say, do we have something to say? Do we have something to teach? Do we have something to add? Let's say if like someone at the radio was asking you like, come and help us, like how to know how to develop our art, how could it be better? Like, do we have something to add, or do we have something to say, or can we talk in a way that they understand? Or do we have this YWAM slang that only YWAM can understand? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah. And also like experience, like, because like I think most of like the job right now, they're not like really hiring you because of your degree, but because of your experience. So like, even if you don't have a degree or all that, like make sure like you're finding a place where you can, even if it's an internship or where you can get experience, because this is like the only way you're gonna grow. Like, yeah, I live with a Frenchman, and like there's in France a lot of people talk, but when it's time to do things, it's kind of like, oh no, let's continue to talk. Like, but it's actually like I've just it's like if you talk about making an art piece, it can be incredible in your mind, but when you actually start doing it, it's a lot more complicated, and it's never as easy as you would think. It's yeah, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And then like the third thing is the anointing of God. Like, do you have a gift? Did God like when you pray, like do you think this is like what you're supposed to be doing? Yeah, like I told you, like for me, I can draw. I'm really sensitive. When I did the strength finder when I was young, empathy is my first strength. So it's kind of like I feel I'm born for this, even if I don't want to. It's God gave me those gifts, and I want to develop them for His glory, because I know it's not everyone who's like that, who have this sensitivity and who have those gifts. So it's kind of just to develop them as much as I can, and to stay as authentic as I can be in the middle of the art world. Yeah. And then I don't know what time it is. Yeah. And so like prophetic artists. So my last point. So like with like my story, you can imagine a lot of people like labeled me prophetic artist. So they told me like, oh, so you're a prophetic artist. But for me, when you say prophetic artist, this is what I see in my mind. Like, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not, like, but like maybe I am, like yeah, but when they explained to me what is a prophetic artist, I'm like, yes, I am, but no. And anyway, like, so I've listened to a teaching that my husband gave of what is a prophetic artist, and it really helped me to say I think I'm prophetic, but I wouldn't label me a prophetic artist. Like I'm an artist, and sometimes I can be prophetic, and so like just some attributes, and I'm gonna finish with that, so we can like we can talk a little bit. But like a prophet for me, who's an artist, is someone who represent God, listen and speak on His behalf. So this in mind, you know, like for me, I see myself as prophetic when I paint, because like I explain, when people tell me their story, I try to hear from God, even with what they're telling me, to communicate what He want to speak to them, and then give words to other. So like if you're doing painting, it can be give images to other, but if you're like a songwriter, or if you're like doing novel, it's like it's we see many like poets too, like, or many songwriter too, or like when you sing a song, let's say you have you 15 minutes, let's say you have how do you say that, when your boyfriend leave, your heart is broken, you know, and then you listen to a song, and you like listen to the song like 20 times and 40 times, and because it just gives words to what you're feeling inside. So it's, I feel like artists that are prophet often give the words that the people need to express themselves, like, because it's inside, but they don't know how to say it. And offer a true, good, and beautiful message. So that's for me, like, inspired by in the Bible, that it's something that would encourage or exhort other people, not something that would bring them down, or like that would something that would give them hope. Yeah, to look forward for what they can become, or who they truly are. Yeah, so like I often ask God when I pray for people, like, show me their original design, beyond like what I can see or what they show, like show me what you created them to be. Continue. Capture and describe the spirit of the time. So so this, I would say, like, because this could be a good conversation, because can an artist be a prophet of his time even if he's not Christian? Like, because some people, artists, like, they capture the spirit of the time, what we're going through, what's happening. Like, there's an artist is describing right now what is happening with the COVID, what is happening in our world, and then put this in a song, or put this in a painting, or like in a performance, or something like that. My husband used the example of Bob Dylan. With his song, he was able to capture like what people were living, what was the spirit of the time. And so when people are thinking of his period, they listen to one of his songs, and he captured this time. So it's what it means here. Reveal the spiritual world. This is what is most mainly known when you're a prophet. So show what is happening in the heavenly realm. And then like the last one is predict the future, but it's only a small part of like what a prophet can do. And we kind of put all the emphasis on that when it's really not the whole thing. So yeah, so it's I'm gonna okay, here we are. So I've talked fast. I wanted to share other things with you, but I think we're gonna stop there because we want to talk a little bit. Yeah, it was what I wanted to share. And I hope like something stuck with you, something that will encourage you. Yeah, if it's like to grow like out of fear or to grow like to get out like of your studio, because if you want to have an impact, you need to make something. Like yeah, I love the title of Christy and Tamara creative group. It's called Make, and you just start with that. If you don't make anything, you're not going to go anywhere. So and then grow out of your influence. Like if you want to like have an impact and influence people, you need to have an education experience and a call from God, and then like go in the prophetic, because I think as artists it's our gift. It's what we're called to be prophetic in this time. So to dig into that with my husband, we're thinking of doing the prophetic school with YWAM, because we really want to grow into our prophetic gift, at the same time grow in influence and in the art world. So voila, to wrap up. So any thoughts, anything you want to add or share? It's your time.
Do you mind if I say that seeing your images from when you first started, my first impression was how terrible they were, and then and then as you progressed, your artwork is just breathtaking, and it really made me feel like, you know, I've seen artists along the way, and I'm sure we've all been in this position where we're so judgmental and we're like, gosh, that person's terrible. They really, then I dread to think like that they should continue down that path. But you know, it says we shouldn't despise the day of small beginnings, and your honestly, your work is just incredible, and it's just amazing that, you know, sometimes we're called to do something and we're just attracted by one technique or one, you know, one small thing, and the more we persevere and just keep going, like the more our craft grows. And I mean, I hope you don't feel offended by me saying that. I look back at all my work and I'm like, what was I thinking? How did I even make it this far? Because it's terrible when I look at my own stuff. But it was really humbling to see your work and see your progression. And yeah, I hope that's not offensive. I just was really.
Don't worry, I survived the critic in France, so I can survive anything. I thought I would die, but I survived. Yeah, but like also I would say like as my teacher in France told me I was doing art for hotel living room, that this was an art, it was decoration, or yeah, you know, and he's maybe he's right, you know, like, but it's I'm thinking too, like it took me this year at the Beaux-Arts to realize that I really wanted to continue to do painting order, because it's what gives me life. Everyone is different, but it was because if I'm trying to do like to follow the path of like the art market, it's not my call. I have some friends who are Christian who are doing this, and like I'm praying for them, but it's really not my call. And to know like yeah, like I realized that I would never be able to please that teacher, and I tried to, and I kind of lost myself into that. But kind of like to find like the right, who's your audience and what gives you life. Yeah, that's hard.
I think especially if you're doing art for a hotel, I think that's one of the most precious places to stand. You know, all these different travelers, and like you said, growing in the prophetic, you don't even have a clue like what your art could do to someone who's just having a really bad journey or so far from home. Yeah, art in all places, isn't it? Anyway, I just hope that wasn't offensive, but I'm really impressed by your work, and it's nice to see.
Well, thanks for the comment. Some people said like some people are still asking me for orders of my technique at the beginning, and other people are like I never liked your work, like you said, but now it's getting better. And I'm like, okay, good. So anyway, this is where you realize you shouldn't try to please people, because someone else has a thought, a comment, or maybe a personal experience they want to share.
I was just thinking about what the discussion that you guys have been having, and having gone through art school and through critiques, and they can be quite harsh, and but also like being Christian and feeling called to creativity, and knowing that everyone is creative in some way or another, just recognizing that you can either listen to those voices who say, this is rubbish, and stop, or you keep going, and I don't know, yeah, find the people who love the stuff that you're doing and keep moving forward with it, I guess, because if you just listen to the negative stuff, like Normally was talking about, staying in the fear and staying in the negativity, like that's really difficult to create. It's not really life-giving, is it, when you're getting down on yourself? But and God is the life giver, and so to stay in Him and keep pursuing what you feel like He's called you to. And you can only do what you can do at the time that you're making it, and every little bit moves you along the way. I used to throw away stuff to begin with when I created, but then I realized, because immediately I would go to, oh, that's horrible, but then I realized I needed to keep it, because my opinion of it in that moment maybe wouldn't be my opinion a week later, and a lot of it is opinion. There's obviously technique and design and that kind of critique, but a lot of it can just be opinion as well, and so just keep going.
Yeah, whenever I bring like a painting to a client, I need to love it me, like, so, and because if I don't like it, then I won't be able to to sell the product. But if I am like, this is the best I can do, this is great, I feel like often the people are more like convinced by your confidence than by the product. Yeah.
I was going to say about everything you shared, something that stood out most to me, that spoke the most to me, was when you were talking about the textures you like, and how it's nice when the textures that you can see can come off as being very organic. And I liked your story with all the different phases of that you shared is such an organic process to go through. That's what I related to. It's like, maybe it's like I want to just like do one thing and do that every day, and then I just get better and better, and it just gets, just very simple. But life is so messy, and like you shared, I love when you shared the picture of just, you said like, oh yeah, like I had no money, so I just like took this old wood and I just like used like sanding it, and it's like so adaptive, and that's such an organic thing, I think, to grow and to go through these different like phases, because that's how I feel. It's like, oh, I want to do this and I know I love this, but like this month now I'm doing this and now I'm doing that, and always adapting and changing, and it's like I feel like I'm just destined to do a million different jobs until I die, and that's how it feels sometimes. But I think that is a very organic process to go through, that develops yourself, and art obviously can develop. But I think just we as people, that's how we develop too, through so many different experiences and varieties that shape you. So I liked seeing that in your story and in your testimony, and it's definitely visible in your art as well. But I think I think that's something that I think all people can relate to. And yeah, I think that's why I think it's such a beautiful medium to get to use is in your art. So I just listening to it, I was like, oh dude, like I'm relate to so much of this, even though I have nothing to do with your technique or your medium, but just like in life, it's so applicable, I think, to all people. So even I feel like I was catching the prophetic vibe from just your testimony. I was like, yeah, like
Amen.
it's so relatable. I get it. So yeah, I loved it. Thank you.
I think there's something spiritual about also about saying like, whatever happened, I'm gonna create. Like, you know, like I hear so many people, me included, that it's like, well, I'll be able to do that when I have a studio, and like, you're not gonna get a studio soon. Like, get creating. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, stop making excuse. Like Noemi, like, just create. You need to create. And even if I don't like create every day because I have a baby and all that, like I say, it's spiritual. It's like, I'm gonna create even if like I have no more ends. I'm gonna find a way to create because this is what I'm been created for. Yeah, so I think it's more kind of stand spiritually to say that I need nothing. Like I can create with whatever. Yeah.
Just quickly, I know we're running out of time. Can you hear me this time? Great. I was encouraged just what you said about you still enjoy doing commissioned work, or the more decorative, something to hang on a living room or a hotel room wall. I did an online exhibition in November that I put all of this energy and process into. And then once I had all that work submitted, I did the Inktober drawing challenge thing on Instagram, and I did a doodle that somebody then contacted me and was like, can you do that style, but a penguin for my kid's room? And I was like, of course I can do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. I will absolutely do that. But there was also this element of maybe letting go of my ego that said, no, I should be doing the more like art with the message, or the more, I guess, fine art focused stuff, or abstract, or the process that I just put all this energy into. And then in one evening I had doodled this thing that somebody was interested in, and paid my grocery bill for 2 weeks. So that was great. But it was also like, oh, I get to paint this beautiful little penguin that's going to live on a little boy's room in Liverpool. And like the thought of that, and the thought of getting to contribute to that. And it's okay to enjoy both things. But I think I do get stuck in that, oh, I should be pursuing this. It's wrong to pursue that, but I can do both. And letting go of some of my own expectations with that. So that was really encouraging. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone else want to talk? Because we have like few more minutes.
I really appreciated what you shared, Noemi, about your trip with the Bushmen and the whole kind of, how do you work your life and your experiences into what you're offering? That, because I think probably all artists who wrestle with, is it what I'm producing, or is it who I am, or how do I weave together who I am with what I create and what I offer? And so it was very interesting. And my first book I wrote was about children of divorced families, because that's my experience. And it was, it's the worst book I've ever written, because it was the first book I've ever written. But there was something so valuable that I brought there. And I guess I don't know. I mean, my question is, how do I keep doing that? How do I, that my writing's not just today I went to the grocery store and today I learned how to knit, that it's not just a narrative of my activities. So that was just interesting to chew on. So thank you for that.
Mm. It was this teacher who told me I should paint in hotel living room, and so I asked him. I said, I have no idea how to be a contemporary artist. I'm trying. I don't know. Like, and this is where like he told me. But again, like he was really in the deconstructive like worldview, and he was stuck in that. So I didn't want to do exactly what because everything would be like kind of Freudian sexual deconstructive. So I didn't want to go there, but at the same time I wanted him to show me how to be a contemporary artist. So this is where he challenged me to use video, and I never did it before, but I was like, okay, I'm here to learn. So I did it, and I hate it, but it was but at the same time it really made me say, okay, like if I want a contemporary artist, I just, when you go in contemporary museum right now, it's really just everyone's life of every day. Like it's yeah, it's yeah. So when I did that, it's my first piece that is actually a contemporary art piece. It's like me walking with the Bushman and saying I'm walking with the Bushman, and like yeah. So I'm like, well, I guess like if we take all our YWAM experience, like yeah, I'm sure we can do something contemporary.
As long as you have a good explanation for it.
Yeah, exactly. A long text. Okay, so 2 minutes left. If no one else has something to say, I would like to maybe just take a time to pray and see. Yeah, and so yeah, I'll just pray for you guys and for us as creative. Yeah. So God, thank you for my new friends here. Thank you because you called us to be creative, to be artists. And yeah, I know how like it can be difficult, but I know also that well, according to me, it's the most amazing job we can have, because we just bring back people to what is essential, who they are. We keep humanity alive. Yeah, we give words, we give images, we give song, we give melody. And God, I pray that you would inspire us, you would inspire each person here to create work and to make work that would bring a good, beautiful message to the people who hear it. And I pray that you would make them grow in their influence, that you give favor, that you give orders. I pray for more like orders, like the one you give to Tamara, like more like project, more like opportunities, and that that there would be no fear, God, as we create. I pray against any fear that we're not enough, that it's not good enough. And yeah, like Mark said, that do not despise the small beginning. That I think like the sabotage come from our mind, come from ourself, come from the enemy. So I pray against that, and I speak life over us and over a creative process. And yeah, and I pray for more collaboration, more connection as the body of Christ, that we would work and help each other grow in their creative gift. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks so much, Naomi.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, I hope you feel inspired. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
And like I said, like feel really like because we meet with Joseph and Debbie, we meet to know who's gonna talk next time. It's new that we do those virtual thing. So like please, like if you have a subject, like you see, like it's really just sharing your experience, or maybe it can be like Tanya, like how to share a story, how to write a story. It could be something really technical. It doesn't have to be something like over spiritual. It could be how to paint with oil, or how to like yeah, something like really practical, because the idea is to just share resource together. Yeah, hopefully we won't be virtual for too many years. Yeah. Who here attended the real forum? Tamara and Christy? 2. Okay.
Yeah, we got to be in Barcelona, and I got to go to Paris. So I've been to La Fonderie. It was wonderful.
Yay. Yeah, we have like those collective expo. We want to do them twice a year, and it's open to international artists. So like if ever you want to submit your work, yeah, so we want to like open it to our network. So keep like maybe like the Foundry on Instagram, so you keep following, and like when we do those appel à projet, you can submit your work. We had like 12 nationality this year, so
Wow.
and only one French.
So cool. I'm gonna check that out after I get off. I'm gonna look that up. All that stuff.
It's
so cool. So jealous.
Yeah, La Fonderie Paris on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.